Start, we're going to record. Brett's recording. Wonderful.
Yeah, Brett's recording. Thanks, Brett.
Yeah, great. So good evening, everyone, or good morning. Equine themed talk tonight, and I'm Kelly Reynolds. I'm your host, and I've been with LifeVantage for about 3 years. I'm still passionate about the products and the business. And tonight I'm going to be joined by 3 lovely ladies. We've got Julie Cornell, who's going to do a brief overview on the company and the business, products, and for us humans and for our animal friends. And then we have our guest speaker, who's Stella James, and she's an equine therapist who's going to share her story with us. And then last but not certainly least is G Fletcher, and G's going to give us an insight on the business side. After the presentation, we'll have Q&A, so if you want to leave your questions to the end, we would love to answer them. And then now I'm going to hand over to Julie. Over to you.
Okay, Brett, have you got the slides up? Oh. Just get the slides up. Oh, okay. Right. Okay, there we go. All ready to go then? Mm-hmm. Okay. So thank you, Kelly, for that. Just to say, my name is Julie Cornell. I've been with LifeVantage for just over 3 years, and I absolutely adore everything about this company. And I was just about to say that I wasn't actually looking for a supplement when I found LifeVantage. I was a health coach. I was on many natural products, and I felt good. For 55, I felt very good. But in the end, I decided to try. And very soon afterwards, I realized that I didn't actually need some of the other products I was using. So in the end, I actually ended up saving money and feeling even better than I had before. So it was kind of a win-win for me. So my passion is helping people and animals live a healthy, long life. And I am very excited to hear Stella's story in a minute. So next slide, please, Brett. Okay, first of all, we have to do a disclaimer for LifeVantage and its affiliates do not claim to cure, heal, prevent, mitigate, or diagnose any disease. And this is for educational purposes only. Okay, thanks, Brett. So first of all, we'll talk about the products. Okay, so LifeVantage began in a lab with a single question. Is declining health something that we must accept as part of getting older? And, you know, after 40 years of research, our chief scientist, Dr. Joe McCord, in 2003, he started looking into 2 key issues. And the first one was, in the early 2000s, that our genes contain incredible abilities to keep our bodies healthy. So we no longer really need to worry. There is a way to change our gene expression and keep ourselves well. So if there's something that's been going on in our parents' lives and our grandparents' lives, we don't need to fear so much. There are things we can do. Decades later, we learned how we could reignite or upregulate these genes to activate these abilities. And that all began in 1969 with Joe McCord, the scientist, who discovered an antioxidant enzyme that was in our bodies, and it was called superoxide dismutase. And he spent the rest of his life literally focusing in this area and to see how he could activate these genes in our body that we couldn't have done before. Next slide, please. So, and the whole new field of science is called nutrigenomics. Nutri meaning nutrition, nutrients and natural compounds, and genomics, which affects the genome and the genes. So this is causing great upheaval in the supplementation field, as this is when we add vitamins and minerals, enzymes that we may be deficient in, and that's what I was doing when I found LifeVantage. But we are talking about something totally different. We're talking about activation, which means that we flip switches back on that our body hasn't been able to do since we were, well, about 20 years old. And this is all part of the aging process. And the key one is the NRF2 activation switch. And this up and down regulates good and bad genes. And I think there's about 250 of these genes. So, you know, there are many genes that are up and down regulated. Next slide, please. So the first theory of aging is about oxidative stress and what causes it, and how can we set our bodies apart from it. So a great analogy, as you can see here, is an apple. We cut it in half and we leave it out on the counter, and very soon it starts to go brown, and this is what we call oxidization. And it's been exposed to oxygen, and the same thing will happen to our cells in our bodies. So we have to, you know, we have to consume oxygen to breathe, and this natural process is exposing us to free radicals. And these are bad. Free radicals are very bad. They attack our cells, and they try to balance themselves by stealing a positive electron from our cells. And that imbalance is called oxidative stress. So our body can fight these free radicals damage, and that's using our own antioxidants. We can do that. So where do we get free radicals from? Well, as you can see on the right-hand side, pretty much everywhere. Technology, environment, pollution, microwaves, Wi-Fi, pesticides, herbicides, even the water that we drink, you know, has got nasty things in it. And even if we exercise, it doesn't really help us, because the more exercise we do, the more oxygen we breathe in, and then there's more free radicals are made. So we really can't get away from it. Next slide, please.
Julie, can I just say, I don't know if you're in a certain area, but it's really crackly and it's going in and out the internet. Is there, are you using a speaker? It's okay, and then it goes really crackly and we can't hear.
Oh gosh, no, I don't know what's going on. I haven't got any earphones. I never use them.
Okay.
Can
you
hear me enough though?
Well, now we can, but it's really cutting in and out quite a bit.
Oh, well, I'm in the best place in my house to actually to do this.
Okay, well, it sounds okay
we'll
this minute.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so here we go. So oxidative stress in horses, and this is our theme tonight. They're mammals. They have the same problems as we do, and because they don't live as long as us, they will probably have more oxidative stress than us. So you can see that intensive exercise, you know, training programs, poor diet, toxins, food additives, environmental factors, stresses, medications, genetics and age. So just like us, you know, imagine being put in a horse box and being trailed all over the countryside. We can see why they would have so much oxidative stress. Next slide, please. Okay, so what the company did as a result of Dr. McCord's discoveries was to combine 5 all-natural ingredients that you can see on the bottom of the page in very low dosages. It's a patented formula, and it took over 2,000 attempts to get this patented formula right. And they finally found the right one, which was that oxidative stress can be reduced by 40% in 30 days, and which is totally incredible. And the ingredients are, as you can see, turmeric, which is a good anti-inflammatory, milk thistle, which is a great liver tonic and cleanser, green tea is an antioxidant and good for the metabolism, ashwagandha root, which is a good mood balancer, amber copa, which is a flower and it's great for brain clarity. So as you can see on the graph on the right hand side, all the ingredients have the power to open the NRF2 pathway, but only in very, very small amounts. But when you get them together in a synergistic blend, the effect is huge, 18 times more powerful. So this is an invention that has been patented and it can't be copied. So what is this NRF2 pathway? Well, think of it as a doorbell on your cells. And as a result of aging, that which starts at about age 20, it goes quiet and it loses its ability to boost and produce enough antioxidants to counteract these free radicals. So that sort of this wakes up the doorbell again and says, like, wake up and do produce those antioxidants like you used to do as you were a child or a young adult. And the result of that is the glutathione is increased by 300%. And this is huge because this is the mother of all detoxifying antioxidants in our body. So this creates an activation process that makes millions of antioxidants in every cell every day. So quite phenomenal, and that's one of the reasons why I got excited, actually. Okay, next slide, please, Brett. So you might say, well, I have a very healthy, clean diet with lots of fresh organic green vegetables and fruits, which is what I said, actually. I said, I can't do much better than I'm doing, so, I'm really okay. But we know that this just isn't true because these are called dietary or secondary antioxidants. And the challenge with these is that they fight free radicals 1-to-1. And then they're done. So we have over 300 septillion free radicals in our bodies at any one time. And because of our toxic lifestyle, we just can't eat our way out of it. So, we would need to eat 11 pounds of blueberries, 375 oranges, 125 vitamin C tablets daily, and 87 glasses of wine. It's just not possible. So what NRF2 Protandim does is produce the body's own antioxidants. They're called primary antioxidants, and they fight free radicals on a 1,000,000-to-1 basis. So this is huge, and every cell produces millions of these antioxidants, and it's just totally mind-boggling. You still need to eat a healthy diet, of course, but we can't do this any other way. And the graph on the right shows you that after 30 days, you cannot tell the blood age of a 20-year-old to an 80-year-old. So, an 80-year-old will have the same blood age as a 20-year-old after 30 days, which, again, totally mind-blowing. So next slide, please. So to make it even more exciting after that, many universities and other research institutes started showing interest in this product and started conducting their own independent peer-reviewed studies. And so if you go into the National Library of Medicine, which is called pubmed.gov, and you put in oxidative stress into the search bar, and at the last count, I think it was, it's over 230,000 studies on oxidative stress and how it's linked to many diseases that we now suffer from. So, but if you actually put Protandim into the search bar, you will also find 26 independent peer-reviewed studies. And these studies have been done from Harvard University, the National Institute of Health, the National Institute of Aging, and the one that I particularly like is the Washington State University in 2015. And that looked into the whole field of NRF2 activation, and the conclusion was that NRF2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and the most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. And this is absolutely incredible for our health and wellness. When you think that, in the last 100 years, we've had stem cells, we've had penicillin. It's just mind-blowing. Okay, next slide, please. So, after the great success of NRF2, the company turned its attention to another pathway, and this pathway is called the NRF1 pathway, which deals with the mitochondria. So, the two together will give you a sort of optimal health. It will give you NRF2 will clean out the cells, and the NRF1 will give you energy. So, we'll talk about that now. So, next slide, please. So, the importance of mitochondria. This is the second stage, second theory of aging. So, you may remember at high school, you would have learnt about mitochondria and how they are the powerhouses of our cells. And we have thousands of these cells in our bodies, in our organs. And like, say, for the heart and the lungs, there can be up to 4,000 mitochondria in each cell. So between 85 and 90% of our energy comes from the mitochondria. So extremely important, and we could not survive without this energy. But unfortunately, as the body ages, the production of mitochondria will slow down, and it slows down over time. The body is constantly fixing or removing damaged mitochondria and producing new ones, and this is a process called mitochondrial biogenesis. So NRF1, it decreases cellular energy, ATP, while slowing down aging. It improves sleep quality and cellular repair. It supports cardiovascular and brain health. So remember I said there was 4,000 mitochondria in each cell of our hearts and our brains. Improves cellular health, cells function at peak performance, and it boosts mitochondrial production and their ability to network. So we have some beautiful natural ingredients in here. We have coenzyme Q10, we have grape extract, we have quercetin, which is a really good for the heart, and then acetyl L-carnitine, which is good for performance and recovery. And so this is why it can be so good for horses, because when they're competing, they really need to be able to recover. Okay, next slide. So here we are, a summary of our results, and these are all backed by science. We improve our sleep, we improve our vitality, we increase our energy, and we have better memory and focus, our healthy hair, skin and nails, and anti-aging of our cells. And if I only just had a few of them, I'd be happy, but I seem to have the whole caboodle. And I think it's absolutely incredible. So thank you for listening to me. I hope you could hear me. And now I'll hand back to the lovely Kelly, who can introduce our next guest.
Thank you, Julie. That was great overview. Yes, I'm delighted to introduce Stella. So Stella's Stella James, our guest speaker, and Stella is equine Bowen therapist, I've got to read this out so I don't get it wrong, of 17 years and has been involved with horses since she was 10. Stella is also an instructor for over 40 years and is a qualified British Horse Society assistant instructor, as well as a yoga sports teacher. So we're very delighted to have Stella on. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Great, so I'm going to ask Stella some questions. Stella, what made you look at Protandem, and if you can share with us your story?
I've been involved with the company about 4 months. It was introduced to me for myself, and I was interested because I like anti-aging. I like to, be as healthy as I possibly can, and so I wanted to improve my inner health as well as slowing down the aging process. Also, as a riding instructor, invariably every winter I would go into a panic because as a freelance instructor, if the weather was inclement, so we had snow or whatever, then that meant that potentially my income had ceased. And then it was like, well, how am I going to pay my bills? And the constant worry of that every winter. I just wanted something that would be more sustaining, a residual income coming in. So it didn't matter if I was holed up in a cupboard or, in Outer Mongolia, I could still have some income coming in, and that would give me a sense of security, and then I could enjoy the rest of my life much better.
Okay, great. So now with your story with the horses, how did you start with the horses?
Because I'd had such good results for myself, namely it improved my eyesight and my hearing. My horse traditionally has a cough during the winter months. This winter seemed to be particularly worse than others, and he was coughing up mucus, which I found distressing. He'd also lost a fair amount of weight, and it didn't seem to matter whether I fed him hard feed, extra hay, and made sure he was warm with his rugs on. He still wasn't putting any more weight on and appeared to be losing it. So I decided that it was all natural, so I got nothing to lose, and so I decided to give him the NRF2. So I decided to give him the same dose as myself, partly from a financial standpoint, because my finances wouldn't reach to anything else. So he just has 1 tablet a day, the same as I do. And the results have been absolutely amazing. His cough reduced to almost nothing. He stopped coughing up the mucus. But more than that, his temperament changed. He's always been a really sweet horse, doesn't kick, doesn't bite, really affectionate, quite high maintenance in so much as I think he's got FOMO, you know, fear of missing out. So, but he would have episodes where he was totally insane, is the best way to describe it. He would be like a beheaded chicken, coupled with a fire-breathing dragon all at once. And he was a danger to himself, a danger to me, and he was highly stressed, sweating. There have been times when I'd come back to him and he would look like somebody had just chucked a bucket of water over his head, and sweating up all around his body. And after taking the NRF2, all of a sudden, none of that was happening. And he was calm. Yes, he got a little bit impatient in the stable at times, but there was no sweating, no manic behavior. Yes, he'd spook at something or be interested in something else, but just like a normal horse. I almost felt like I'd gone out and bought another one, because he was just so totally different.
Okay, so you noticed sort of like quite quickly after you started giving him just 1 tablet, did he start to have a difference in his temperament? And with dosages, do you use the same dosage with every horse? Because it does work like a placebo effect with horses and animals.
Yeah, with him, the results I saw in 2 weeks. Now, horses are much more sensitive to herbs than we are, and also remember they're plant-based animals, so their process of digestion is slightly different to ours. But I was just blown away by how changed he was. Dosage-wise, as I said earlier, I gave him the 1 tablet because financially I couldn't afford to do anything else. I have heard of other people who you can give a horse up to 4 a day, but it depends what's going on for them. If they've got something that's quite serious, then you might give them the 4, so you give them 2 in the morning and 2 in the evening, or you might stagger it during the day. 1 really is a maintenance dosage. 2, if you've got something going on. So strictly speaking, you could say that because my horse had got some respiratory issue going on, it would have been better to have given him 2, say 1 in the morning and 1 at night. But even though he was only having the 1, we still had the results. And then over the period of time, he's been on it now for about 3 months. He's now started to put weight back on, and he now looks like a normal horse. So he looks like I would expect him to look at this time of the year. So for me, and you're right, there is no placebo effect. So it's, you know, they don't have to believe it works. He doesn't even know he's having it half the time. I just put it in a handful of horse treats and he just munches all that up and job done.
Brilliant. And like as humans, you know, we all react differently to herbs and take different times to benefits. So with greater success with the horses and with yourself, where do you see yourself in the future with LifeVantage?
For me, my mission is to get as many horses as possible on the NRF2. Horses suffer a great deal of stress in their normal day-to-day life. They're stabled, as Julie mentioned earlier, you know, they're travelled around the country in what we call cave on wheels, which is what it is for them. We ask them to do things that they wouldn't normally do if they were out in the wild. So, and, you know, they have veterinary interventions like vaccines and medication for as painkillers and things like that. And that all has an impact on their body and creates oxidative stress. There's a particular anti-inflammatory drug that actually causes, and it's documented in PubMed, that it causes stomach ulcers in horses. Mm-hmm. And that's horrifying because people use it a bit like aspirin. So, you know, they just go, oh, I will give them that. So that's my mission, is to educate the owners that they can do something better for their horses that's natural, that's effective. And so that's my mission.
That's great. Well, thank you, Stella, for coming on and sharing this amazing testimonial with us. I've definitely learned a lot. And now I'm going to introduce G. Fletcher. And so G. Fletcher is our amazing global team leader and one of the leaders responsible for introducing these incredible products into Australia and for 4 years ago, and is continuing to grow a successful team there and now in the European market. So welcome, G. Thanks for coming on. I know it's early in Australia. I think it's like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. Nice to see you. Okay,
Thank you.
So I'll ask you some questions. So as an extremely busy business person, you know, with you and your husband both being involved in brick and mortar businesses, what actually attracted you to LifeVantage?
Okay, so for me, having always been a traditional business owner, I'd only ever known, as you say, bricks, water, staff, stock, overheads, and I never knew about this online platform. I'd always been passionate about health and wellness, and it wasn't until about 5 years ago I saw this opportunity. And the biggest thing that I actually saw was the power of duplication and how anybody could do this business with very little money up front. Because that was one of my biggest things when I was always looking for my purpose on earth and looking to try and see how I could inspire and teach people. Anytime I looked at plan Bs and property and that, you need a lot of money. And this was a platform that I saw this industry that anybody could join it, and it was up to that person with the right coaching and teaching to be successful. So what I love is I have 75-year-old distributors and I have 18-year-old distributors and CEOs, doctors, stay-at-home moms, business people, you know, health practitioners, everybody in the middle. So that was the thing that really attracted me, that anybody could build a business from a very little amount of upfront money on their mobile phone. That was the biggest thing that I saw. And from that, you know, the other big thing that you need to find with a company is it's got to be a sound company. So when I saw this company, I straight away went to see, was it NASDAQ listed? And it was. And I knew that was really, really important because you need to have structure and guidelines and audited. It needs to be a company that's around for a long time, because most companies in direct sales don't make it past the first 5 years. Because if the product isn't reputable and if the product doesn't really work, people will not stay with the product. I looked to see whether it had good retention, because that is another thing that you really need in a company, is really good retention. And 86% is customer based. our sales are. So that is what you look for with an affordable product. So these were some of the things I looked at. The company's been around since 2003. So it's an 18-year-old company and it's on the NASDAQ. So these are all very important things when you're making a decision to look at either from a customer standpoint of view. You want to make sure that it's strict guidelines that they're adhering to. But from a business point of view, or if you're looking at a plan B, you want to make sure that the company is at the highest integrity and it's being adhered to. And that's what happens with NASDAQ. So yeah, they were some of the things that excited me about this product and this company.
Brilliant. Yeah, it definitely ticked a lot of boxes for me, especially having $1 million company on my phone, which, run from my phone, which is brilliant. So next question. We know that LifeVantage is one of the very few direct sales companies to be traded on the New York Stock Exchange, and rang the bell in 9th of January this year, which is very exciting. The only direct sales company to do that during Health and Wellness Week. And we believe that shortly after, you decided to partner with them and you decided to buy a significant number of shares. So can you tell us why?
Okay, so I'll be honest, when I first got started with LifeVantage, I didn't buy the shares. Hands up, $4, I didn't buy the shares. And some people in my team did, and they've quadrupled theirs now because they went and actually did it. And I just thought, man, I'm not making that mistake again. So I did buy them actually before Wellness Week. I bought them last year and they went up by about, I bought them at $11, they went up at about $6. What I really noticed with COVID is they went from $16, all our shares dropped dramatically during COVID with all the crashes and that. What I noticed about LifeVantage, their shares were back up at their same value within a week. That shows a really stable company that people have strong belief and foundations. When we got asked at Wellness Week, the other companies that get asked to actually close out a bell is like Amazon and Facebook and, Apple and really prestigious, long established companies. Because we got asked at Wellness Week, shows that NASDAQ normally picks companies that are on the cusp. Red Rock Technologies, some really prestigious fund advisors have bought a lot of shares in our companies, and they normally go with companies that people don't know about yet. So when I saw that they were all buying up shares in our company, I knew that I had to get in because I truly believe that the company is on the cusp of something huge.
That's wonderful. And especially with all your success and for the future, what do you see for the future and growth of this company?
Look, timing is huge in direct sales. That's one thing that I've learned. There is your Herbalife, your New Skin, even your Amway, Avon. These are all companies that have been around for a very long time and they hit a momentum. Now, what that means is that there is a pioneer phase in every single company, and we're in that at the moment. And the only reason we're in that after 18 years is that the company never went global. They didn't have the right corporate team that wanted to take it global. So that's the only reason why nobody knows about it yet in Europe, and why it's only just opened in Ireland, only just opened in Spain and Belgium, and it's been in the UK for, short of 5 years. So timing is so important, and I believe in the next 2 years that we will hit a momentum, because nutrigenomics is going to be $1 trillion industry. And we have one of the longest, most established, with the most science and peer-reviewed studies products out there that's all natural in the world. So I truly believe that we are going to hit a momentum phase in the next 2 years, and 80% of the growth happens with 20% of the people. So now is one of the most exciting times to actually join our company, because we have all the infrastructure, we have the team, we have the support, we have everything. You just need to get involved and be part of it and be coached and teach with us.
Brilliant, especially with online shopping and businesses growing so massively now. This is the
Absolutely.
perfect time.
It's the way of the future, and we've seen that now with COVID. I think in the next couple of years, more and more companies are going to be leaning into this B2C platform, less buildings and traditional ways of doing business, because they've seen how effective it has been to have online businesses during COVID. Our business grew. And that's what people need to look at as well, is, you know, you don't want to put yourself back in a situation, you know, where you're dependent on a traditional business. You do need an online platform that can outsee any kind of pandemic that may happen again.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, G. It's a great way to end the presentation. And we want to say thank you to all the guests for joining us tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to just end the recording.